You are now watching Bleav. Do you believe?
BBN, here we are for another episode of Bleav in Kentucky, coming to you courtesy of the Bleav Podcast Network, the #1 content network for professionals. Go to Bleav.com to get this episode. Check the archive. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitch, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, give us a good rating. My name is Vinny Hardy. We got AG up here, Aaron Gershon with the Cat's Paws doing his thing. Check out his top 100 players in the Stoops Era countdown, running us right up to the start of the season. And we got a QB1 who was here when Stoops first got here. Been on this podcast before. Friend of the show, QB1, Jalen Whitlow. Jalen, what's going on, man?
Not too much, man. Usual, man. Football. Definitely about this time of year. So, just staying in the loop. Not coaching high school ball this year, but definitely training quarterbacks and just training athletes in general as well. So, you pretty much know how it goes about this time of year. About that time to ramp it up.
When you're a week and a half out, what are usually the vibes around a locker room when it's that close, but there's still that one Saturday in between where it's like, damn, it's so close, but we're not quite there
yet. In college, man, obviously high school too, any student athlete, it's a lot going on at this time because you got class that just started, so guys are dealing with that, tutors. And the young guys are learning how to kind of manage, time and manage their schedule. And that's kind of what I wrote about in my book. It's a lot of time management that goes into it. So the veteran guys, they're doing well. The younger guys, some of them may be swimming a little bit because it's a lot at first. You're dealing with a full schedule. You're dealing with a full football schedule. You got tutors. You got to make time for life. You can't just be all football in school, even though that's about 99.9% of it. You got to leave a little bit of room, a little bit of time just to exhale and, talk to your family and do that type of thing and hang out with friends. But it's busy, man. But the buzz around the locker room about this time is, it's starting to ramp up. Everybody's getting their body ready and mind ready to go. It's a long physical season, 12 games. So that's usually how it goes, man. So, I'm sure that's the sentiment right now in the locker room, but a lot of positivity for sure for Kentucky.
Hey, go ahead and you said you wrote a book, so go ahead and plug the book you wrote and tell everybody what that is, man.
Yeah, well, I wrote the book Prepare. It's for student athletes in college in particular about managing, time, relationships. Just everything you can think of when it comes to a student athlete having to deal with. Being able to, have the right foresight at a young age is not, everybody's not privy to that foresight. So I kind of wanted to give some, student athletes, and this is for everybody that's in college that plays a sport. There's a lot that go into it, and some things you naturally don't think about when you're 18. That it'll be good if you think about it, but naturally you don't. So if you could think about it, it could set you up for a better, 26, 27, 28, and so forth and so on. So kind of that thing, man. And I also just released my second book. It's just a quarterback help book. And I got so many ideas and so much going on in my head right now that sometimes I forget I even, wrote those books. So, but it's cool, man. Just trying to stay busy and help. I train a lot of kids in this area, work with a lot of them, and just trying to help them out, man. And things that I didn't do well, the things that I got two brothers that play high school ball. One of them played college ball. One of them that's in college right now. The things that maybe we didn't do well, or maybe we did well, and try to make sure the people that I come in contact with are able to fill those holes so they can have a more complete experience when they, go through this thing.
You got so much going on that you forgot you're an author. Now that's if I wrote some books, I'd probably be telling everybody. Look, get my book. I got a second book. You're doing so much. Like, oh yeah, I did write 2 books. So where can everybody get those 2 books?
Right. You can go to my website, btgqbtraining.com. The first book, Prepared, is on Amazon for the physical copy. But the physical copy is a little bit more expensive. On my website, we have both books, prepared and signed, are digital copies. So you'll get them, PDF form. You can get them Apple Books form, however you want to do that. Depending on if you're an Apple person or a Mac person or HP or Android, whatever you want to, however you want to do it. We got them in both forms. So yeah, you can go in there and get those, and the real easy reads, short reads. Man, if I really could, just kind of impart some of that wisdom on some of these 17, 18-year-old student athletes, man, it'll definitely help them out, man. Definitely help them out. Got a couple high schools in the area where I am right now who, some of their kids are privy to the book. They got them, and I get feedback all the time. Man, I didn't know this. Thanks for letting me know. And they're still in high school, so they're gonna get the chance to know. A lot of guys don't even know this at 22. As a 22-year-old senior, some of the stuff they don't even know. They don't even think about. So it's just just trying to again, if I got any information to lend, I lend it, man. I don't hold anything back.
I think something that's gotten even harder nowadays for the high school athletes, especially the ones with the college aspirations, is the recruiting process, because it's so public. Everyone wants to know all your offers, what you're thinking. What was yours like? And coming from Alabama, what were the impressions of Kentucky back then, where compared to now they're becoming more of a household name?
To be honest with you, man, my recruiting process was pretty smooth for the most part. Now I say that, but I got Ole Miss, Kentucky offered like maybe less than a week before signing day, back when Hugh Freeze was at Ole Miss. But
right.
But for the most part, I had a great high school head coach, Coach Jamie DuBose, who's now in Orange Beach High School down in Alabama. He was phenomenal, and he and the staff, we had a great staff who they kind of went over and beyond with helping us, helping our recruiting process. We had 30 seniors to sign in my class, so they went over and beyond. So a lot of stuff we didn't even have to deal with.
Right.
But the stuff that I did have to deal with was, talking to coaches like normal. Coaches coming to practice. I mean, we had Auburn. I remember Kirby Smart came by when I was in high school. I mean, we had everybody coming by. I mean, we had some 4 and 5 star top caliber players on our team. So, thankfully, and a lot of the guys, I was kind of recognized from, by coaches who were here seeing other people. They were here seeing some of my other teammates, and they recognized me. So it was cool. But Kentucky, I remember, Randall Cobb was like the first thing that came to mind when I heard Kentucky, to be honest with you. Randall Cobb, Morgan Newton. I remember watching a couple games, on ESPN and seeing, maybe it was a South Carolina game back when I was in high school, back in 2010. I was a junior in high school, and I think I watched, maybe it was a South Carolina game, or I think it was South Carolina. But I remember either Randall Cobb and Morgan Newton kind of doing their thing. And, I don't remember much from the game. It's kind of, it was 12 years ago. But that's kind of, what I remember about Kentucky. And I remember they had some nice blue uniforms, Nike.
Yep.
I was a big Nike guy back then. Blue was my favorite color. And, yeah, man, I remember, they gave me a call. T. Martin gave me a call one day. And, he was like, look, man, we like your film. We just got out of a meeting. Coach Phillips, really liked the film, and, we like what you can do. Offering you pretty much what you think about it, and, giving me the rundown of what they have to offer and all of that. So I never forget, I was getting picked up from school one day, and he called me again. I was with, he kind of offered me officially, I guess. And it was, it was cool. I told my dad, that happened, and he was like, that's pretty good, and so, I remember later on that day, though, or maybe it was the next day, Hugh Freeze called and offered, and then Coach Malzahn, that was at Auburn, got Cam Newton on the phone, and Cam Newton called.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah, because Coach Malzahn was at Arkansas State. I was committed to Arkansas State twice.
Wow.
Under 2 different staffs, Hugh Freeze and Coach Malzahn. But Yeah, Cam called, talked to me for about 10 minutes. I mean, I'm from Alabama, man. We had a play on our, in our offense called Cam right and Cam left. I scored the first touchdown of my senior year on that play. So for Cam to call me later on that year was kind of mind blowing, to be honest with you, because I mean, we all know Cam Newton in Alabama is like, you know, he's next to Nick Saban if you're talking about all the football and Alabama football. So, that's kind of how it went, man. I ended up committing to Kentucky and signing and everything. And, I didn't even take a visit, to be honest with you. I didn't take a visit to after signing day. But I knew that's where I wanted to be, from the conversations that I had. And growing up in Montgomery, Alabama, growing up in the South period, I mean, it's hard to turn down playing SEC football. I had schools that were on me from the jump. And it was just hard to turn that down, as an 18-year-old kid at that time, 17 at the time, really. It was hard to turn down playing in the SEC. Every Saturday, that's the only thing that people down there are watching is SEC football, unless Ohio State is on prime time or something like that. Yeah, man, that's kind of how it was. That's kind of how it went. And, glad I made that decision.
Yeah, it just means more literally, doesn't it?
That's the perfect. That's perfect. I mean, it really does, though, and people don't really understand it. I got friends from all over, and they don't quite get it. Like, the Iron Bowl where we're from, during the Iron Bowl, nobody's on the road. Like nobody's like, it's like this is that big of a deal. I mean, even in high school, we played Daphne High School. They had T.J. Yeldon, Ryan Anderson, Alabama. Both of those guys I think still in the NFL, and even some more SEC guys on that team. And nobody's on the road because a high school game is going on. Like it's literally it's like we come out for warm-ups and people they're standing room only. So that's what I love about sport too. But yeah, that's kind of how it is down there. I mean, it's just. It's different. You can go. You may have a few places in the country. Like I know Ohio has good football. I coached football out of Texas for a minute in Dallas area. It don't get much better than Dallas high school football. There's so much money into it, and everybody has and all of that. But when it comes to Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, even South Carolina, even Tennessee, even Kentucky, Arkansas. But I'm kind of biased. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and most of Texas. I just don't think you can. I don't think you can replicate. I just think it's that serious. Like people take it almost too serious sometimes. That's how it is.
No, you mentioned Ohio, and obviously that's where Mark Stoops is from, Youngstown. What were your impressions when he walked in the door in 2013? And could you see kind of where this thing was headed? Where now, I mean, this is a guy who every year he could have pretty much any open job he wants. And I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the country.
I think this is a bold statement, but I think Mark Stoops may be the best coach in the country, head coach outside of Nick Saban. And maybe Kirby Smart. I just think you can't deny what he's done to Kentucky. I mean, it's kind of like if Franklin at Penn State had stayed at Vanderbilt. What he did to Vanderbilt was, nobody thought that would happen. So, I remember the day when Coach Stoops got on campus. We all met him, and I like Coach Stoops. I mean, I just think he's so real, honest. You know how you know where you stand with him. I mean, and it's a good thing because you need that as a young man. 18, 19 years old. You need to get an example of how to deal with relationships, how to be honest, be brutally honest sometimes, and also still can love the person and and appreciate the person. And off the field, outside of the player, because trust me, he coaches hard. We know that. He's I think he's a great dude. I remember the day he got on campus, everybody knew that. Okay, something. The energy it was a shift in energy. Everybody knew. Everybody kind of got more of a serious type walk about him and talk about him. Everybody knew that things were changing. And this is not to discredit nobody on the staff before that, because I got coaches on that staff my freshman year with Coach Phillips and Coach Sanders that I love. But it just went down how it went down. But I like Coach Stoops. Like I said, I think he's probably the second or third best head coach in the country. From taking a 2-10 team, which we were my freshman and sophomore year, we were 2-10, unfortunately. Yeah. Going from 2-10 to winning 10 games in the last 4 years. No, I don't think most Kentucky fans will sit here and lie to you and say, we probably knew. No, they didn't. Nobody knew that. Yeah, nobody. I mean, nobody knew that was going to happen at Kentucky.
I think 2016 and 17 was something fans welcomed, just winning 7 games. I don't think anyone thought they'd take that next step.
100%. And I think the thing can keep going in the right direction too. I think he built such a momentum, and a guy that you can't deny. It's a couple guys on that staff that a lot of people don't talk about. Everybody knows Coach Vince Morrow, great recruiter, all of that. But strength staff, Coach Corey Edmond, Coach Ed, we call him Coach Ed. Hey, I mean, he's a huge part of that deal too. Coach Ralph, I'm part of the strength staff. Those are guys that were there when I was there, and they do a wonderful job. I mean, that was the best shape I've ever been in. That was the best I've ever been as an athlete. When that staff got there. I mean, eating habits changed, everything changed. So, like I said, Coach Stoops he's a very well-rounded coach. I mean, the players love him. He's very good on the field. You like him on and off the field. He holds everybody accountable. But he's also not. He's not the guy that takes everything so serious where you can't joke around with him. And he's a human being at the same time. So, like I said, I appreciate him for what kind of, because I'm a coach now, so the stuff that I learned from him, is valuable. I kind of carry some of the same stuff. So, yeah.
So you say you're not coaching this year; you're doing training. So are you gonna have a little bit more time to catch your breath, or are you still gonna be running crazy, busy, wide open?
Yeah, I mean, the weekends are pretty busy. Obviously, kids are in school, so weekends are usually pretty busy. Maybe definitely Sundays. Saturdays can be pretty. I can have some time on Saturdays, but on Saturdays from August, whenever football season starts, until after the SEC championship game, I cut my schedule off at noon, because that's just what I do. I watch football. I'm a college football guy. I don't really watch much NFL. I watch college football all day Saturday and all day Sunday when I have free time on Sunday. I don't even, I just go back and watch games over, or I go back and watch games that I missed. So, I definitely have some free time, but it's usually spent, hanging out with family and watching football. So that's how it goes.
Go ahead, Vinny.
Okay. Is you struck me last time we had you on as like a real student of the game. You really study the offenses. You get into the nuts and bolts. We were talking about Liam Cohen last year, and you talking about the stuff that he did with the Rams. Now it's a switch. You being a quarterback and having to know the playbook and where everybody's at. How do you see this new offense under Rich Scangarello coming in from the 49ers? Have you got a kind of chance to see what this offense is going to look like for Will Levis and these guys that are fixing to run it?
Yeah, man, I just got done watching, videos, and studying, I don't know where I'm a part of some Google Drives, and I'm not the owner of the Google Drives. They have a lot of people's playbooks and film in there. So I looked through the stuff, I was looking through it last night until like midnight. Stuff that Kentucky's going to be doing is his offense, and I know they're going to do some of it because they did some of it last year with Cohen. But I like where it's going. I do think this though. They like to run the ball a lot, which is great. You got to be able to run the ball in the SEC. You got to be able to run the ball in football. Period. At the end of the day, football comes back to blocking, tackling, running the ball. Let's go in that thing. At the end of the day, all the pretty stuff is cool until the fourth quarter, overtime. You got to be able to do the basics. But I do believe if they truly believe that they have a first round draft pick quarterback, I think they must open the offense up a little more and let him
Yep.
be first round draft pick quarterback. I think they got to throw the ball. I mean, if you have that at quarterback, which they do, I mean, the kid can throw the ball through a brick wall, 6'3", 230, can run pretty well, great leader, right? So if that's what you have at that position, you have to, like, in my opinion, now I know they will to a degree. Everybody has different philosophies, but my philosophy will be put his talent on display. He's the best player on the field if he's a potential first round draft pick. He is. So let's see it. Let's throw the ball around a little bit more. They threw it a little bit more last year than normal, but let's throw it even more. I mean, you got all of the speed at receiver. You got great running backs, and three of the running backs are more so scat back type guys. Outside of Chris Rodriguez, he's a bully, but the rest of them are scat backs. So in my opinion, let Levis throw the ball. Let him get in the gun. All the run, play, action stuff, make it boot stuff. That's great. Play pass is great, and they're gonna do some of that, and I love it. But in my opinion, when you got a guy of that caliber, that's like, it's like if we're saying he's a first round draft pick, that's like saying that he's in the category. It's like a Bryce Young. Bryce Young's a first round draft pick, right? So if he's somewhere in that stratosphere, you gotta let him be what he is, right? And put his talent on display. I really do believe that, and I know they will. They got good coaches. Stoops is a smart dude. He know what he's doing. Rich Scangarello, from what I hear from everybody, and I know people who kind of know him, he's a smart coach. So, if they're as smart as we say they are, I think they will do that. And I truly, I believe that, and I stand by it. Let your best player, especially at quarterback, touch the ball every snap. Let him kind of take you to the promised land if he's that.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Actually, there was a part of practice today that was open to us in the media, and I said I was having the same conversation. You got to let a guy like that showcase himself a little bit, and obviously, you don't want it to be a selfish showcase where it's just for his draft stock. But he's so good that you want that on display as much as possible. But when you see Will, and there's a lot of opinions out there because not everyone's watched every game of his, but you're a film junkie, and you just mentioned his arm and all that. What do you see that first round draft pick in him, or do you think it's buzz, or what do you see when you watch Will Levis play?
I tweeted a couple months ago, and I kind of caught some flack from some people about it. I said that if Kentucky just do exactly what they did last year, wins and loss record, if they do that, or even maybe lose a couple more games. If they win, let's say they win 8 games and win a bowl game. So let's say 8 or 9 games. If they do that if the offense play well, and he does, exactly what he did last year, or even better, which is possible, he can definitely do better, and kind of drop the interception, touchdown interception ratio a little bit, kind of, fix that. But I think he'll be the first quarterback drafted.
Wow.
Because I think when he goes to pro day, when he goes to combine, when he's at the Senior Bowl, I think they're gonna, scouts are gonna see that this guy. I mean, again, 6'3", 230, can run. Everybody raves about his leadership. He can throw the ball through the wall of China. I mean, you got to think. And also, he's really green in the saddle. Like, he hadn't had a lot of snaps. So, I mean, obviously he had the whole year last year, but at Penn State, I mean, he was basically a wildcat quarterback, essentially.
Yeah, he was running more than he was throwing.
Yeah, outside of a couple games, he was running the ball. So, when they see that and they see all of those things come together, and he stays healthy throughout this year, and they see that in display, pro day, Senior Bowl, combine, I don't see how he's not the first quarterback drafted. And I say that because, C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, great quarterback. In my opinion, probably the second best quarterback in the country. Bryce Young, to me, is by far, nobody's on his level.
I agree.
In my opinion. Nobody's on Bryce Young's level at quarterback. He's the best college quarterback I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, he is. And I'm not talking about just physical. I'm talking about what he does from the pocket, how he distributes the ball, the arm angles, the off-platform throws, the mobility, everything. He's the best. He's the best college quarterback I've ever seen. And my dad told me that before the season, before the first game, before they played Miami, and it ended up being true. He's like, that guy's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
You know, it happened. But I really do Bleav that. So I think that he is a first round talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year he has to show first round poise and first round development in the passing game, not in the play action game. In the drop back passing game, we need to see some progression for me to say he's the first pick.
Yeah.
But like I said, I do Bleav that he's the first pick talent. You know, I do Bleav that. And if Kentucky has a good year, I think that may happen. I really do Bleav that because Bryce Young, they knocking his size. CJ Stroud, they knocking his mobility.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of Will Levis kind of got it. He's got a
little bit of everything.
You know, so we'll see.
So one thing you hit on that's super important with Will is the interception. So he threw 13 last year. That was tied for the SEC lead. And I asked him about this when I talked to him one-on-one over the summer. And I want to get your perspective as a quarterback. How do you want to be aggressive? And if the picks down the field happen, it's kind of like a so what. But you also want to be smart. How do you strike that balance? I'm always fascinated by that. Because you don't want to I'm a Giants fan, for example. So I see Daniel Jones the last 2 years with Jason Garrett. And his best year was the rookie year when they let him chuck it downfield. Now, the interceptions were there, but these last 2 years, turnovers way down, but the production's gone because they don't let him do what he's best at, and that's chuck it deep.
Yeah. I think, and this is no knock at anybody, but as a head coach, I've always, being a quarterback, I've always had head coaches that stressed. Don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. That's horrible advice for a quarterback. Say it once and don't say it again, in my opinion. Because, most guys are going to internalize that. They're going to hold back. And when you hold back, as we know, the man who hesitates is the man who loses. So, you got to play free. And I think they got to let them play free in these scrimmages. In practice, let them drop back and throw the ball in 7-on-7. Let them do it. I had a quarterback in 2018. The kid, he plays for Tennessee now, actually. 2018, Gaston Moore, who we threw too many interceptions his junior year, and I had to reevaluate how I was teaching. And the next year, we threw 4, and one of them was like a tip. The whole year, we threw 4 interceptions, and we threw the ball a decent amount for a high school where we were. We threw the ball okay amount. And again, I never really said, and I Bleav this, the word interception or the word pick to him. I never said that. I don't Bleav in saying that. I Bleav in saying, be smart. But I never said take care of the ball. I never said interception. I never said pick. And I think it's psychology when it comes to that position. You got to be careful with your words, because it's a reaction position. And if you're not reacting, then you're holding back, and that's when bad things happen. But I'm not sure if holding back is Will Levis's thing. I just think it's time in the saddle. And it's allowing him in practice, allowing him in 7-on-7s, going against the defense. You got to allot time for that kid to just drop back and throw the ball. And I'm talking straight drop back, 3, 5, 7 steps, whatever they're going to do in that offense. I think you got to allow him to do it. That's going to be the only way he really develops.
Now, you played the game, so you will be able to relate to what Levis is going through more than anybody. I've been saying that, at Penn State, he wasn't used much, didn't throw it much, kind of thrown in as a sub to run and all that. Gets to Kentucky late, misses the spring game, learns the system on the fly. He got thrown into the fire as a starter, has 1 season under his belt. So coming into year 2, you get a spring game, learn a new offense. I keep saying that the game is going to slow down for him this year. Will that be the case for him after playing a full year of SEC ball, first year as a starter. You talk about we need to see first round production. We need to, he's potentially all these things. We need to see him kind of sharpen a few things to where he can maybe justify the hype he's getting. Do you see the game slowing down for him since he does finally have a year under his belt and he's not as green as he was, but he's got a little experience now? You see things slowing down for him when he does drop back and to make those reads?
100%. And he probably feels it right now. I think to get it. It's just you just can't replace experience. It definitely slows down. I remember my first year playing at Kentucky because coming out of high school, I didn't throw the ball that much. We had another quarterback, Justin Thomas, who we split time, and he got most of the time, frankly. And my senior year, I played some receiver too. So my freshman year at Kentucky, I was always pretty safe with the ball for the most part. Outside of my senior year of college, we had some just bad luck plays too. But outside of my senior year of college, and even then, I was pretty low interceptions. And when I got to Kentucky, things are moving kind of fast. Obviously, it slowed down as you get reps. And when I got to Eastern Illinois, I had so many reps in the pocket. It's just, the game's just different. It's a different game. So definitely the game's going to slow down for him. I think the offense staying similar to what it was last year will definitely help him. And I think, Coach Stoops did, I heard that he allowed Will to kind of voice his opinion when it came to hiring Rich. So,
Exactly.
So if I had to guess, they're going to do a lot of the same passing concepts. From watching the spring ball, they were very, very vanilla in the spring game. But I've seen some of the same stuff, very similar stuff. They may call it different. They may call the formations different, but it's the same concept. So I think they'll keep some things pretty much the same in the pass game from last year. Because they come from that same tree in the NFL too. So a lot of stuff is very similar. So I think the game will slow down a lot for them. You got to replace a couple offensive linemen. That's going to be key too. But I think they have the talent at receiver. Now, some of the talent is not necessarily proven, but the talent is there. So I think the game will slow down a lot for him. And, if I had to guess, I think he's going to have a big year. If Kentucky offense have a big year, I think the defense is always going to be solid. If they have a big year on offense, in the passing game, we know they're going to be able to run the ball. In the passing game, when they have to pass, can you pass? That's always been Kentucky's thing, right? When you have to pass, can you pass the ball? They can run the ball. Kentucky ran the ball. Very good teams in the SEC knew Kentucky was going to run the ball. And Lynn Bowden and the running back that plays for Pittsburgh, they still ran the ball and was successful. We know that's going to happen. Kentucky's going to run the ball, and they're going to run it pretty well. Can you pass the ball when the defense is saying pass the ball? It's going to be determining. That's going to be the determining factor if you're going to beat Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina. And as we know, the SEC East is quickly becoming the old SEC West with the amount of talent and the amount of good teams. So, that's the thing. But, yeah, it'll slow down for them a lot, in my opinion.
Now, you mentioned the receivers. The group that's getting the most hype is the tight ends. And how much pressure does it take off a quarterback knowing you have that big security blanket there? And not in this offense in particular. Isaiah Cummins has proven himself. I think Keaton Upshaw has too, even though the injuries are there. And then you have some young guys who are and Brandon Bates as well. But you have these young guys too, and Dingle and Caddis. It seems like they're 5 or 6 deep.
Yeah. I watched the interview from Rich. I watch all the interviews because I try to stay on it. And he said that he wouldn't be surprised if about 4 guys out of that
right.
NFL. So, in my opinion, again, I'm a high school coach at heart. Having a tight end is like, I know that we're going to be successful if we have a tight end. How successful, we don't know. But I know that we have a chance to really, cause some damage if we have a solid tight end. Mm-hmm. And they have 4.
Yeah.
They have 4. And, I heard the Dingle kid is the best one all around.
That's what I'm hearing too.
So, as a play caller and a quarterback, it don't get much better than that, man. you got a running back who's on all these lists, preseason lists, and he's solid. He's going to fall forward. He's going to get you tough yards. Exactly what Kentucky needs on offense. The prototypical Kentucky running back. And if you have 4 tight ends, man, I've been telling people all year. I've been telling people all year, watch out for Georgia winning it all again.
Yeah.
Georgia has 3 NFL tight ends.
And the best one in the country in Bowards.
And the quarterback is back. As a defense, how do you stop that? They got the Eric Gilbert kid who I watched him personally. He's from Georgia. I live in Georgia now. And they got, it's just, but anyway, tight ends are a huge deal, especially at this level. And I think they got enough to really be a problem on offense this year.
Yeah, something Isaiah Cummins, not with us when we just had him on the pod, but what he was saying at the media press conference last week is they were even playing with 14 personnel, which is the 4 tight end set. That'd be something else. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I mean, on defense, you make the defense make a decision as far as personnel, because at the end of the day, if you got 4 legit tight ends and they all can halfway run routes and they can run block, man, as a defensive coordinator, I'm not sleeping at night. That's tough to deal with. You putting everybody you putting the defense in a bad situation. So that's we'll see how that goes. I can't wait to see it though.
Oh, that's not gonna put you on the spot because I'm sure you already thought about it. But Aaron and I put out on the Bleav network Twitter. They tweeted out our playoff picks for the 4, and both of us. You got Georgia winning it all. Neither one of us got Georgia in there. In the playoff. You got what, Aaron? You got who? Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Utah?
Utah is my sleeper pick because I really like what they have coming back. They're kind of similar to Kentucky where they're so physical, but the reason I think they have a chance this year is you got USC reemerging, where if they could add that win, that's a big resume booster. You got Oregon's always there. And then they have the wild card, which is week 1 at Florida. And I think they're going to win that game because I'm just not sold on Florida this year. I think Napier just needs time to have his own roster. I think Mullen did not do a very good job recruiting with that Florida team. So I think those 3 wins, and if they don't have any, stupid slip-ups, it could be the year that conference breaks through. That's why I had Utah in there. That was my thinking.
I was with that. If I was kind of drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm with you on the other 3, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson. But I think Utah's got all the hype and they're the favorite, and for some reason I got a feeling they're just gonna slip up and not.
I could see that too.
It's like I got Oregon coming out of there, and I don't really buy USC in Lincoln Riley's first year, but at the same time here I got Dan Lanning as a first year coach finding a way after losing to Georgia. I think he's gonna figure it out some kind of way. So that's my 4. Jalen, we said all that to go ahead and get your thoughts. Your 4, if you had to pick for the college football playoff, who you got representing?
You can't. I guess a safe pick would be Bama. Bama's in there.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest right here. I watched every spring game that I could watch. Georgia looks different on the field compared to everybody else. Talent-wise, they're on defense. They're faster to the ball. They're more explosive. They're more physical, even more so than Alabama. On just watching this, obviously the spring game is just a small sample size, but from what I see from Georgia, I think they reload on defense.
Yeah.
I think they reload on defense. You got an 18-year quarterback. You got 4 tight ends, and there's another tight end that's a freshman who I think is going to be pretty good. He's from the area where I live right now. He's going to be a good player eventually. So you got 3 legit draft picks at tight end.
Yeah.
Always going to have a good running back at Georgia. They at least going to have 2, receivers that kind of, pop up and kind of take the team by storm. Defense, we know the defense is going to be good. We just know. They lost a lot of guys, but they got arguably the best guy that was on the defense. He's back.
That's right.
So I just don't see how I don't really see how anybody I know Kentucky fan You're gonna hate this, but I just don't see how you beat them. I mean, to be honest with you, I just don't. And I think people who look from an honest lens, now they could easily slip up. I got them potentially slipping up against South Carolina and potentially slipping up against Kentucky.
They never play well against South Carolina.
Yeah, I think they're going to beat Florida's head in again.
Yep.
But I got them potentially slipping up against South Carolina and Kentucky, potentially. But at the end of the day, talent is talent, and what they have on that roster, I think they're the best team pound for pound in the country. So I got to go Alabama. I got to go Georgia. And people are going to hate to see that rematch.
I could see it.
I want to see something different, to be honest with you. But
I think everyone does, yeah.
But it is what it is. And I think my third team is Ohio State. I think Ohio State will definitely take an L at some point during the season. In my opinion of Ohio State, I just think they're soft. I don't think they can compete with Alabama, Georgia. I think Kentucky will beat Ohio State or come close to it. I just don't think they're that physical on the defensive side of the ball. I don't believe in their physicality. They have all the talent in the world on offense, but I just don't believe in their physicality. I'm sorry. But I think, I think they get in there with a loss because they're so exciting to see, and I think people want to see them anyway.
The receivers are legit, man. That's the thing that stands out most for me.
Yeah, 100%. That fourth team, I battle with the fourth team. Utah is definitely a sleeper. And people are going to look at me crazy when I say this, but I think there's two other sleepers, Oklahoma and Texas.
Wow.
I think Texas is a huge sleeper.
They are.
I think people
they're not even ranked, are they?
They're in a coma.
Yeah. I think I don't know if they'll make it to the playoffs, but I think they'll be, if they stay healthy. They already had a couple injuries in camp.
Yep.
But I think if they stay healthy, they can definitely make some noise. I think they got a very good roster. They may not have the depth that those other three have, but they got a very good roster. But yeah, choose from either of those as your four. I don't think USC can compete right now. I don't think they're physical enough on defense and the defensive line, offensive line. They'll have a good year, but they won't be. I don't think they'll be playoff bound. But yeah, and I say this, and I'm not, being a homer right here, but I think if Kentucky can keep healthy, on the offensive line and defensive line, they got a chance to, do something that they've never done, I don't think. Now, what that is, I don't know. I don't know if it's making the playoffs. I don't know if it's being 5, 6, 7, 8. But I think they got a chance to really, do something. But it's going to come down to health, and it's going to come down to are they able to pass the ball when teams like Georgia make them drop back and pass the ball. Right. If they're going to stifle your run game some, let's call it a spade. They got better players. They're a physical team. They're a very well-coached team. They're coming off a championship. They've recruited very well. They're going to stop you at some point, and they're going to say, okay, Will Levis, Rich, let's drop back and throw it. Can they do it? That's going to be the thing. So, and they got to watch out for Tennessee this year too. I think Tennessee
offense is different.
Tennessee is another big sleeper. I think Tennessee has the best quarterback room in the country.
Yep.
So, yeah, those are my picks, man. Probably not most popular, but
hey, it's gotta, gotta pick who you pick, man. Yeah. So go, like you said. I'm gonna be honest. That's why we ask you.
Yeah.
And we was honest with ours, so yeah.
One team you'd left off, I know the ACC sucks, but Clemson, you don't see it. I don't know who's going to start at quarterback. I don't know if it's going to be the freshman or DJ or what.
Yeah, I think that Dabble thing's over, man.
Yeah, you think it's over?
I think so. They're going to get good players. They've done well the past, really 12, 13 years, really. They've done well, but I don't think they're getting the consistent caliber of player that they were getting. I think they're in a very, very weak conference.
Yes.
Slip up in that conference, you're probably gonna take. You're probably out if you slip up in ACC. I'll borderline take a 2-loss team in the SEC
I
or a
agree.
big team before I take a Clemson 1-loss Clemson team. But nonetheless, good roster. But I just don't think they got questions at quarterback. I think they got questions at offensive coordinator. And I know one of the biggest Clemson fans you'll ever meet, and he even agreed that they got to do something different on offense. They kind of been rigid and robotic on offense.
It was not good last year.
Yeah, I think they need to develop some creativity a little bit and kind of spice some things up on offense. But
new defensive coordinator too. So.
Yeah, new defensive coordinator.
That's right. They're both head coaches. Yep.
They're going to be very good on the defensive line, but I just don't know. If they have the complete package to, make the playoffs this year. And if they do make the playoffs, it's going to be frankly because the ACC is very, very weak.
That's why I picked them.
Yeah. I mean, the ACC championship game last year was Pitt and Wake. That should say it all. Though I like Kenny Pickett, but still.
Yeah, and I don't pick them because they could run the table in the ACC and still be the 8th best team in the country. So I really do believe that. So that's why I don't pick Clemson. I'm just not a believer in Clemson. After last year, to be honest.
Yeah, it was bad.
I'm just not a believer in them. I think they're, I think you got schools like Kentucky and Texas and maybe even Texas A&M, which I think is very overrated. Are gonna kind of take that Clemson spot. But yeah, Texas A&M is so overrated, man.
So overrated. I couldn't agree more. I'm glad you said that. They recruit the number 1 class every year, but how many they won 8 games last year, I think.
Yeah, and I think I like Jimbo, but I think he's kind of overrated too. If you look at the past few years, his quarterbacks have been in the bottom of the league in some areas of the country. It's just the truth, and I like Jimbo Fisher, but I just it's just the truth. I'm not a believer in Texas A&M. I think they're going to be they're going to be on this doorstep after this year. I think
I've got them third. I've got them third in the West. Personally, I really like Arkansas.
I love Arkansas. Arkansas is one of those teams that nobody will remember how good they were this year because inevitably they're going to lose some games in the SEC. But nobody will remember is really how good they were. I think it's going to be that type of season for them. They're going to be really, really good. They're going to take teams to the wire. They're going to beat some teams they may not beat. Alabama needs to watch out. I just think they're going to be that good. But is it going to translate marble into what it's supposed to be?
Right.
It's hard to say that at Arkansas because you got to go through a gauntlet.
That is a gauntlet.
So,
Hey, we got all kind of stuff in here in this episode, man. Appreciate getting your perspective, your analysis, your time at UK reflecting back, man. You brought it tonight, Jalen. And we definitely appreciate having you on here with us, man. It was a lot of fun.
No problem, man. Like I said, anytime we talk some football, man, I'm always up to do that. So, it's always fun, though. I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate it, too.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
And before we go, though, got to tell you about our friends, La Terrain watches. If you got you're at the point where you need a good timepiece, Jalen, go to laterrain.com. Dave and Ben got a great website with a great product. Timeless watches made with pride, built and designed for watch enthusiasts. If you want to go formal, you got to dress up. Get you a watch for that. You want to go casual and just chill, you got a watch for that. They got accessories, got watch for men, women, whatever you want to look into. LaTerrain.com is the site. They even got a little chat where you can ask them questions before you make your purchase, and the owners themselves will answer your questions. LaTerrain, LA-TOURAINE.com. Get yourself a La Terrain watch. Tell them you heard about them by listening to the Bleav in Kentucky podcast. So, and also our friends at A Sea of Blue. This episode will be on their website, aseaofblue.com. Jason Markham and Streebull and everybody over there at A Sea of Blue, Drew Brown. Appreciate them putting these episodes up on their site so even more people that bleed blue can hop on there and listen. And like I said, Bleav.com, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Go on there and, put a little rating, give a little subscription, 5 stars, whatever you want to do. Put a little comment, what you think about the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll wrap this one up for my man Aaron Gershon, AG. For the QB1, Jalen Whitlow, my name is Vinny Hardy. This has been another episode of Bleav in Kentucky, and we will catch y'all next time around.
Thank you for watching Bleav. You can find more great content at Bleav.com. That's BLEAV.com. Do you believe?